Think Realty Nation, it's your host, Abhi Golhar. Welcome to the Think Realty podcast. We have a really cool show lined up for you today. One of my really good friends, Michael Jordan. Not the Michael, well, the Michael Jordan. Could be the Michael Jordan, but it isn't the Michael Jordan that you're thinking. It is my good friend, Michael Jordan from Strategy Properties out of Michigan. We'll be interviewing him about turnkey rentals and his business model and what's really driving that level of success for him today. We're also, after that, doing a little recap on wholesaling and why wholesaling makes a little bit of sense when you go into a market for the first time. That's what's coming up on the show. You cannot miss it. It's going to be a good one. This podcast is brought to you by Roofstock. If you're ready to buy your next investment property, then check out Roofstock, the #1 marketplace for buying and selling single-family rental homes. Featuring tenant-occupied rental properties for sale in over 20 states, Roofstock makes it easy to invest in cash-flowing real estate outside your local market. And to help you invest remotely with confidence, all properties are backed by Roofstock's industry-leading 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up for free today to find your next cash-flowing rental property at roofstock.com/thinkrealty. All right, Think Realty Nation, my good friend Michael Jordan is joining us now. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Abhi. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to see you again. It's been a few minutes, so I certainly appreciate you taking the time and talking a little bit about some turnkey concepts, and then, of course, Detroit, Michigan. I know you're based out of the East Coast there, out of the eastern side of Michigan. So give us a little background on who you are, what you do. Take about 30 seconds to do that for me.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on the show, like I just said. So a little background on us. What we do is we acquire properties through many different avenues. We use a multi-pronged approach: off-market, on-market, direct to seller marketing, online techniques. We buy properties, renovate them, get them city certified, make them, aesthetically pleasing. Then they go over to our property management department, ProWay Property Management, and they get leased out to a screened and qualified tenant. And then what we do is we market them over to passive investors who want to buy rental properties and hold them in their portfolio. So that's really the nucleus of our business is, selling turnkey properties that we renovate.
So when it comes to, I like that word nucleus. That's such a good word, man. I think that's now my word. Okay, now I'm stealing this word. I'm just letting you know in advance. Okay, like that's happening.
No problem.
Okay,
no problem.
So there are a lot of investors that I connect with, and I'm always answering questions about, hey, what's the latest strategy that you're using to find deals? And you do a lot of work, of course, near the Detroit area, and that's where you're headquartered. And sometimes, I remember back in the heyday, if one can remember the Great Recession and the real estate crash, it was a really tough time for everybody. Now,
right.
It's a tough time on the other side of the spectrum where you have all these folks that want to get into the real estate world, and they're all competing for the same inventory. How are you finding your deals? What sets you above the rest?
So that's a great question. And that really right now, I think across the country is probably the biggest challenge is to find inventory. And in our market here. So back then, obviously, you used to hop on the MLS, you put enough offers in, you can buy 40, 50 incredible homes a month if you wanted. So right now what we're doing is we use a multi-prong approach, and we're not only using, online means. So we have our We Buy Homes website, which we drive a lot of traffic to through SEO and, through some paid advertising.
Mm-hmm.
We do direct to seller mailings. We do text messaging. We do ringless voicemails. We call, thousands of, direct sellers, and use auctions. We online auctions, tax auctions, foreclosure auctions. We buy notes also that we will eventually own the home because maybe it's vacant, and we do a notice of presumptive abandonment to take back the home. So we use a multi-pronged approach towards purchasing because we feel that's the best route for us to pick the best deals up. And, really, even bandit signs. We use bandit signs, boots on the ground, going to a lot of events, meeting a lot of wholesalers. That's one thing I didn't bring up. So we have, about 1,000 wholesalers and realtors that we stay in touch with via, mass emails, calling them, holding events. We have a monthly meetup that we have that, brings us opportunities also. So, we're not leaving any stone unturned.
That's a lot of work to put in for such a pretty awesome operation. I mean, and what I want everybody to kind of understand here is Michael has a process for everything, right? Like, you're not a guy that's just going to throw a bunch of stuff at a wall and say, okay, I'm going to hope that it sticks, and ultimately, something's going to have to work out, right? Like, you have meticulously planned out every single process, and that's why I love you, man. I mean, you're definitely one of those guys that I can go to say, hey, where am I messing up in my process?
Thank you. Yeah, we use a lot of process maps. I think that it's like driving aimlessly. You don't know where you're going if you don't do that. So
that's right.
We use process maps on everything, and we also measure everything that we're doing on a weekly basis to make sure that things are working well. So you hit the nail on the head.
So let's talk about Detroit. So we talked about acquisition strategy. We talked about what you're doing. Let's talk about the city of Detroit. Back in the early 2000s, Detroit was losing roughly 15, 20% of its population year over year for a period of 5-10 years, right? It was abysmal. What has Detroit done differently today that makes it an attractive location for somebody like me, somebody that's watching, that's listening, and saying, geez, I'm investing in Jersey, I'm investing in Atlanta and Texas and California. Why should I look at Detroit, Michigan, once considered the armpit of America, as an opportunity to invest my money?
Well, yeah, we are definitely the comeback city, with everything that's going on downtown and in surrounding neighborhoods. You go downtown now, and if you took a snapshot from 2010 to 2019, you would see the amazing growth down there from not only buildings that have been rehabilitated, but buildings that have been refaced. More traffic down there, more businesses down there. Occupancy is up for units that are for rent. Occupancy is up for office space. You have Dan Gilbert there, who has set the tone for the city, and created this entire. I guess this massive.
It's like an ecosystem almost.
Yeah, ecosystem. Yeah. That's the perfect word for it. Where he knows what the rents are. They control a lot of the real estate in the city, and there's a lot of other private companies too that control a lot of the real estate there. But it's a place where people want to go. They want to have dinner. They want to hang out. Families go there. It's right near the river, right near Canada. So you've had this revitalization of downtown. You have a new stadium there where the Pistons and the Red Wings play. You have a more comfortable feel down there. You have more businesses that are down there. Then it trickles into the neighborhoods, which is there's a lot of hotels that are going up, a lot of businesses that are here in Michigan now.
What's the name of the casino? I can't remember what the name of the casino is.
There's Motor City, there's Greektown, and there's MGM.
Yes, that's right. Motor City Casino. I was there with my brother and my wife, I think maybe 3 years ago. It's a great casino. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of attractions now. They have, in downtown now, they got a beach right in the middle of the, downtown. It's Campus Martius. But, you look at also the jobs that have been created here, like, the tech jobs. Detroit is a top 10 city for tech jobs. And who would have thought that years ago that we'd be in this position? Also, you look at it like there's a lot of companies that are in the car industry that are working on, electrical cars, autonomous vehicles. They're working closely with GM.
Yes.
Recently, there's a company out in Plymouth, Michigan, I think it is. And, Bezos came down. He invested $500 million, and I think Ford did the same thing too. GM or Ford was going to do it, and then GM didn't, put the offer in the right amount.
Right.
So
So,
Ford
question for
bought
you:
into it.
There seems like there's a lot of activity, activity moving the city of Detroit forward in a positive way, right? It's no longer negative;
Yes.
it's a positive way.
Right.
How does one take it? Like, where should one be looking at for opportunities? Obviously, working with strategy properties, like that's like duh, right? So, what's the website, real quick?
Strategyproperties.com.
Cool. Strategyproperties.com. And it's strategy spelled the way that strategy is spelled. Don't get creative. It's not strategy with a G-I-E, okay? It's like strategy with a Y. Strategyproperties.com. Share some numbers with me. We got to wrap up here in about 2 minutes. Some numbers on what I can expect as an investor. Say I'm putting a little debt on my property. Should I expect cash flow? If so, how much? What's the average acquisition price? Bedrooms, bathrooms, square foot, that kind of thing. If you don't mind breaking that
Sure.
down for me, that'd be helpful.
Sure, absolutely. We work in B&A areas. We try to concentrate on those areas, and the cash flow. You look at the average acquisition is 75,000 to 100 would be our average, or I would say 70 to 100.
Okay.
Because you do have some 65 and some that are 110. Then when you go over the 100, that's the B inventory. When you go into the 100 to 130 mark, you're more into the A inventory. I would say the 70 to $100,000 property gets around $900 to $1,100 rent a month. The over $100,000 property probably gets right around $1,100 to $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month in rent. So if you're leveraging the property, you're definitely cash flow positive. You're paying down the debt and bringing in cash flow in really good areas.
Yeah.
Your average home has 3 to 4 bedrooms. The bigger homes have 4 bedrooms, 1 to 2 bathrooms in the home. Basement is pretty much standard in most of Detroit. When you go into the suburbs, sometimes you don't have a basement, but you have a garage. So we always look at it like we want to make the tenants comfortable, because ultimately the tenants are where the money is brought in from. So we want to make sure we either have a basement or a garage, preferably both.
Yeah.
And really, that's a snapshot on the properties we provide. Cash on cash returns around 10, 11%, I would say, on average.
That's pretty solid.
That's what we provide.
What do you think about Airbnb in Detroit? Maybe 15 seconds.
Oh, I love it. Airbnbs are great. We're getting more into it, and we're setting them up, and the returns are even a lot higher. So anyone interested should come check it out. And we could turn any rental that someone buys into an Airbnb, as long as it's in the right area where we feel that there's going to be at least half of the year or more rented out at $150 to $200 a night.
Boom. Michael, thanks so much, man. I certainly appreciate your time on the show today, and some of the insights on Detroit. I mean, it's a city that's turned itself around. It's going to keep going. So again, one more time, that website?
Strategyproperties.com.
Awesome.
And you can take a look at a lot of information on there, a lot of educational content, as well as properties.
Awesome. Beautiful. So if you're an investor and you want to make some money in Detroit, you want to check out Michael Jordan and what he has going on at Strategy Properties. Make sure you check him out, strategyproperties.com. Think Realty Nation. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you in a sec. This segment is brought to you by Narada Real Estate Investments, your premier source for cash flow investment property. Visit www.turnkeyrealestateinvestments.com. So wholesaling. Why is it that a lot of investors, whether you're a new investor or pro investor, choose wholesaling as a go-to strategy for jumping into a market? Well, quite frankly, it has a few things to do with, let's say, finding a market, and then finding resources, and then not using a whole lot of money when you're wholesaling to at least get to learn the market. I think that's one common thread when wholesaling in a market. Discovery. You want to discover who you are as an investor. You want to discover the capital requirements of that market. You want to discover the resources that you need in the market, whether it's a handyman, handywoman, property manager, contractor, whomever, title company, appraiser, a banker, community banker, etc., to help fund your deals, even hard money lenders, private equity, private investors as well. So what wholesaling does is give you this holistic understanding of who the players are, what's happening in a market, and how you can benefit, and what margins you can seek. Therefore, if you go into a market and you just want to say, well, all right, I want to buy 20 or 30 or 40 homes. Whoa, hold on there, Charlie. I think it makes a little more sense to wholesale first and get to know the market before you plunge in neck deep. Just my 2 cents, though. You know, I could be totally wrong. I'm not wrong. I could be totally wrong. I'm not wrong at all. Anyway, that's the show. I hope you learned a lot from my good friend Michael Jordan of Strategy Properties as well. And along with that little tidbit about wholesaling, use it to your benefit and then discover whether or not you want to flip or buy and hold and invest for the long term. It's Abhi Golhar signing off. It's been a fun show. If you want to get in touch, go to thinkrealty.com/podcast and watch the previous episodes of this show. You can also find me on Instagram and LinkedIn at Abhi Golhar. Ask me your questions. I love talking to people online. It's like my forte. I love doing it. Anyway, until next time, happy investing. This podcast is brought to you by Roofstock. If you're ready to buy your next investment property, then check out Roofstock, the #1 marketplace for buying and selling single-family rental homes. Featuring tenant-occupied rental properties for sale in over 20 states, Roofstock makes it easy to invest in cash-flowing real estate outside your local market. And to help you invest remotely with confidence, all properties are backed by Roofstock's industry-leading 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up for free today to find your next cash-flowing rental property at roofstock.com/thinkrealty.